every time before I work out, I make sure that I stretch. Try to get every single muscle from the top of my head to the tips of my toes in one aspect or another. The reason being is this stretching elongates the muscle, but also it creates blood flow. Now, blood flow is important, well, for detoxification, hydration, for energy, to prevent neuropathies, to prevent heart disease, to prevent hardening of the arteries, to prepare the muscle for work, and sometimes I go without stretching intentionally and do it after the workout, simply because if I am in a altercation or there's an emergency that happens and I have a wreck and I got to get out the car, I want my body to be able to function without the stretch as well. But the stretch has more beneficial effects all the way around than it does just for building muscle. It's kind of like nothing will replace running to get better at running, and nothing's going to stress the cardiovascular system properly to prevent heart disease like 20 minutes of cardio. You need 20 minutes for your cardiovascular system to vasodilate and stay dilated to prevent heart disease, to get all the benefits of cardiovascular training. So when you do cardio, 20 minutes is your minimum. Smallest amount. So anything less than 20 minutes and you're bullshitting, and you're not getting the benefits to your heart, your lungs, your complete cardiovascular system. You're really not doing what needs to be done. And if you can't run for 20 minutes, then you need to run more. Because, look, here's a good test. If you're standing, feet shoulder width apart, you go down. If you can't touch your toes, you got problems. I think it's 3 times more likely to have an early heart attack than those who can touch their toes. With their legs straight, bend over, touch them. If you can't do that, we might want to work on that. Or you could just stop heart attack. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter to me, it might matter to you, but it's not really, don't matter to me. This is why I do what I do. I don't know why you do what you do. But recommendation says, why not just do it? It's not that bad. What if you found out you were amazing at systematically becoming better at physical activity? What if you found out you really suck at it, but you saved yourself $100,000 by not having the heart attack? I mean, now I take supplements to help prevent that, like MSM and heart, but nothing takes the place of cardiovascular exercise. I lift weights, but I still have to do cardio at least twice, maybe 3 times a week. And if I find that I can't run for 20 minutes, I do it every other day until I can get back up to it running at least 20 minutes. If I have to take a break, well, I'm a bitch. And I got to do something about that because I just can't live like that. So, somebody asked me, they said, I have become where I am depressed. What do I do? And I said, well, first, let's see, where does depression come from? Depression, anxiety, things like that come from, they're like an infection. It's the neglect of doing what you know you need to do when you need to do it. Even the little bitty neglect start as a little bitty infection that will lead to massive deterioration of self-respect, and self-worth, which ends in depression and anxiety about what's to come because you know you didn't do what you were supposed to do when you were supposed to do it. So now you're afraid that what might happen. So how do you get out of that? Well, if we know the cause, we can change the result. Just like with disease. If you know what causes the disease, now you can cure it. That's why we don't know. We don't know what causes cancer. Shut up. But with depression and anxiety, it's neglect that develops into these disorders. So if it's neglect that causes it, what do? You know, how about you start doing what you're supposed to when you're supposed to, and then you will get the self-worth and self-respect that kills the infection of the neglect because you're no longer neglectful. The cause is gone, and now you reap the rewards of self-worth, of self-development, of getting better, stronger, faster, more money in your bank account, and girls like you. It's really that easy. And anybody, well, it's a clinical, shut up. God's honest truth. The world is tired of your whiny ass. If you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, you won't be depressed. You won't have anxiety. There is no fear because you know your worth. That's it. And I know this because I've been there. I'm not speaking as of someone who hasn't had these issues. I've had massive neglect and lost massive amounts of money. I've lost everything and built it back. It's pretty simple. You let the infection get too far. Now you got to do massive action to get back. But it can be done no matter where you're at. But it's a choice. So, discipline. Why is discipline important? Well, discipline equals the enjoyment of freedom. See, you can have freedom without discipline, but you will destroy yourself. Discipline is the way that you enjoy being able to do whatever you want. Because you make someone able to do whatever they want, and they start doing massive amounts of drugs for whatever reason, they'll destroy their life. But discipline says, I will do this in moderation, or I won't do this at all, or whatever. But whatever the discipline, the more disciplined, the more disciplined, the more enjoyable the freedom. So if you want to be free, you must tell yourself, these are my standards. And if those aren't working, you critique those till you have the enjoyment of your freedom.